Hey everyone, and welcome to This Explainer. I'm your host, and today we're taking a fascinating, behind-the-scenes look at the incredibly high-stakes reality of cabinet reshuffles. You know, we see these breaking news alerts all the time, right? Cabinet reshuffled, ministers moved. But what's actually happening behind those closed doors of power? Well, today, we're going to break down the hidden mechanics, the unspoken rules, and honestly, the brutal realities of these government reshuffles. Get ready, because the truth is way more strategic and a lot more ruthless than it looks on paper.
So, it brings up this core question that pretty much everyone wonders when they read those flashing headlines. If a minister is switched to a completely different department, does it really matter? I mean, a politician gets moved from one building in the Capitol to another. Their title is still minister. They still have a massive desk. So is this just a giant game of musical chairs? Does a simple portfolio switch actually make a real, tangible difference to their career? Or is it just routine admin stuff?
Okay, let's dive into this. The short answer, yes, it matters immensely. Actually, scratch that. It doesn't just matter. A cabinet reshuffle is literally one of the absolute most high-stakes, sweat-inducing events in any politician's entire career. We are pulling back the curtain on this whole illusion of equality today, because while the public just sees a simple shifting of roles, for the politician involved, this exact moment can define their legacy, their actual power, and their sheer political survival.
To really understand why it's so incredibly stressful, we first have to look at the official government line. Because on paper, every union minister seems totally 100% equal. They all retain the exact same official rank. They draw the exact same salary. They even get to keep the same prestigious government bungalow. Officially, there's zero difference between them. But that official baseline is really just a facade, masking a very, very different political reality.
Which brings us to Section 1, the hidden hierarchy, heavyweight versus loop line.
Right, so beneath that whole official equality thing lies an unofficial, very real caste system. Ministries are basically divided into three distinct tiers, and these dictate a minister's actual power, their prestige, and their survival value. Think of it like a massive corporate ladder. At the very top, you have the C-suite. This is the CCS, or Cabinet Committee on Security. We're talking home, finance, defense, and external affairs. This is ultimate power. These ministers control national security, foreign policy, and the country's purse strings. They are the undeniable face of the government. Then, in the middle tier, we have the high-profile or infrastructure ministries, places like railways, road transport, power, commerce, telecom. Think of these as your heavy-hitting sales teams. This tier is all about high visibility and massive budgets. These ministers handle mega projects. They deal with top corporate leaders, so they can show real, tangible delivery. But then, at the absolute bottom, we have the loop line or low-profile tier. Ministries like minority affairs, youth affairs, animal husbandry. Politicians literally call this the cold storage. It's the basement archiving department. Small budgets, low visibility, minimal policy influence. Being sent here, well, it's essentially a polite, bureaucratic way of completely sidelining a minister.
And this brilliantly illustrates the massive gulf in a demotion. Imagine if a minister is moved from being the finance minister all the way down to the minister of minority affairs. That is a devastating, clear-cut political downgrade. Now sure, their official title on their letterhead still says Union Cabinet Minister. They still get the paycheck, they still get the house. But their actual power, their influence, and their daily relevance, that plummets overnight.
Let's move to Section 2, keys to political survival.
So, you're probably wondering, why are these ministers so incredibly desperate to stay out of the loop line? Well, a minister needs very specific tools to survive. Remember, first and foremost, these folks are politicians. Their absolute primary goals are to win elections and maintain relevance. And these survival tools, they fall into three main pillars: home state patronage, corporate leverage, and media real estate. These are the lifeblood of a political career, and your specific ministry entirely dictates how much of this lifeblood you actually get access to. Let's do a deeper dive into the specific leverage each of these provides.
First up is patronage power, or your ability to bless your home state. If you're heading a high-budget ministry, say road transport or rural development, you have the power to direct massive central projects, build highways, and funnel serious funds directly to your home state or your own constituency. Bringing that kind of major development home, that virtually guarantees your re-election. But if you're shoved into a low-profile ministry, you are completely deprived of this crucial patronage power. You have absolutely nothing to bring back to your voters.
The second pillar is corporate and bureaucratic leverage.
Heavyweight ministries control the regulations that directly impact major industries. Just imagine heading up civil aviation, telecom, or commerce. You hold massive, undeniable leverage over industrial giants. You are a key player in the economy. Now, contrast that with the Department of Culture. If you get switched there, that immense leverage over corporate leaders just vanishes overnight. And then we have the third pillar, media real estate. In politics, visibility is literally oxygen. Your survival absolutely depends on being in the news, staying right at the top of the public's mind. A home minister or an external affairs minister is on television daily, right? They're driving the national conversation. On the flip side, the Minister of Earth Sciences is almost completely invisible. You rarely ever hear from them, well, unless there's a major natural disaster. And as a politician, you generally don't want your relevance tied to earthquakes. Losing that daily media presence is a massive blow to a politician's profile.
Let's look at Section 3, the ultimate performance review.
So, the crucial point is, a cabinet reshuffle is essentially the Prime Minister's very public report card for the entire government. It is the ultimate performance review broadcast for the whole country to see. And it is remarkably binary. On one side, you have the reward. If a minister performs exceptionally well, or maybe they just delivered a crucial state election win for their party, they're rewarded with a heavier portfolio. They might jump from a junior minister of state up to a full cabinet minister with the prime department. But on the other side, you have the rap on the knuckles. This is when a minister is publicly demoted to a less critical department. It's a swift, undeniable message.
But why exactly does that rap on the knuckles happen? Well, a minister might be shifted to limit political damage for a few key reasons. Maybe they're simply underperforming. Or perhaps they've gotten embroiled in some messy public controversy. Or maybe they're failing to manage bureaucratic bottlenecks and it's stalling the government's agenda. Whatever the specific reason, shifting them down to a loop-line ministry is a glaring public signal to the entire party and to the bureaucracy that this person has firmly lost the prime minister's favor.
Bringing us to Section 4, the hidden cost, the bureaucratic ecosystem reset.
You see, when a minister is switched, they aren't just moving their favorite coffee mug to a new office building. They are losing absolutely everything that makes them effective. Trace this painful timeline with me. Step 1, the minister is switched overnight. Boom. Step 2, they immediately lose their entire established ecosystem. They have to leave behind their trusted personal staff, their joint secretaries, all their vital advisors. And Step 3, they enter a completely new department totally cold. They now have to rebuild relationships from scratch with a brand new set of IAS officers, bureaucrats who, by the way, likely already have their own entrenched ways of running things. It's like being transferred to lead a totally new corporate division, but you can't bring a single member of your trusted team with you. It is a massive, exhausting, professional setback that completely stalls whatever momentum that minister had.
And that leaves us with this final provocative thought. The next time you see a cabinet reshuffle on the news, try to look past the official press release. Remember that while the designation on that shiny new nameplate still simply says Union Minister, the reality is so much deeper. That simple title change is a defining judgment. Is that specific portfolio switch setting up a rising star to be a future prime minister candidate? Or is it quietly, politely drafting them into permanent political retirement? The true story is always hidden in the hierarchy. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. I really hope you walk away looking at the news a little bit differently today.